Hello, and welcome to Security Girl Storytime. Alright, this story is about the time every cell door in an entire segregation unit opened at the same time. When I say every door, I mean every door. 24 inmates, 24 open cells, 1 corrections officer. And it was me. I was that officer. At the time, I was working a constant watch in a segregation unit. For those of you who don't know, segregation is where inmates are sent after serious rule infractions, usually some kind of an assault or they get caught with drugs or something like that. These were not inmates you wanted wandering around unsupervised. They did not get much out of cell time at all, so they get an hour, and they had to be cuffed and have 2 officers present just to leave their cells. It's around 6 o'clock in the evening, and I was sitting at the officer's desk watching the inmates assigned to my watch. He was asleep and had been quiet for hours. And it was shaping up to be a pretty boring shift. I had my fogger sitting on the desk in case I had to do something with it, usually to intervene if they were going to hurt themselves, but I didn't expect to use it. Then I heard a click, and it's very loud because of how quiet the block was. And I thought, well, that's weird because usually that means that a door is opening, and it wasn't from behind me, it was from in front of me. And so now I know the wrong doors are opening. I hear another click and another click, and my heart is just dropping because I know every time that click happens, that means that door's opening. Because these doors are on a slider. So once they click them, they just are going to open. And especially because they're on magnets too. So there ain't no way to close that door once you've pushed the button. And usually the control booth would have already radioed had something happened, in which like power failure, they would stay locked. So they usually would warn you like, hey, we're about to open these doors up, and have officers there. But this was not that. And so I looked down the range and I'm watching these doors slide open, and my heart and my stomach are just dropping. I am genuinely terrified. I am not even gonna lie to you, because I had heard many of these people had told me in the past all the things that they would love to do to me if they had ever had those doors opened at an opportune time. So I watched them start getting out of their beds and come into the doors, and they didn't immediately go into the other side of the threshold. So they were like kind of sitting in their doorways trying to figure out what was happening. And I was trying to figure out what was happening. I radioed the booth that I was getting silence. So some of them had, already made threats to me in the past, and they were looking at me, and they definitely knew who I was. But I started backing up, 1 step at a time, and I had the fogger, but that was my only protection. So I put my back against the pod door, and I'm just hoping that somebody sees what's going on here, or the help comes, because I had already pulled my man down. So there was no time for some dramatic and heroic speech. No taking command of this situation. It was 1 girl and 24 inmates. So about 40 seconds went by, and I'm going to tell you they were the longest 40 of my life. And then I heard the door click behind me. Finally, 4 officers came in, and they all were, fully decked out. So they had the gear on, the helmets, everything. So the inmates were like, oh, okay, this is for real. They fucked up. And because at first they were thinking that it might be like some kind of a setup, like it's a trap, and they had opened the doors to maybe get us in trouble. And I had heard a couple of them saying that, like, they're just trying to give us extra seg time, and It was not that. It actually turned out that what had happened was an officer sneezed on the control panel, and he had forgotten to put it back into clean mode before he went to wipe it off, and it just hit the mass release button, which I was telling them in the beginning, this is a terrible button to have on this, but they of course need that button just in case of an emergency that we need to evacuate everybody. So that is why you should always put the control booth screen into clean mode before you clean it. It's there for a reason. Also, you just stay safe out there. That's all I got for you this time. I'll see you guys next time on Security Girl Storytime.